Okay, so we're talking about the second review in your spousal sponsorship application and what does it mean? And if you happen to find yourself in that situation, what are you supposed to do? So let's talk about this now. So when the spousal sponsorship application or your file goes into second review, it means your file has been flagged for further scrutiny and it has been assigned to a second officer or even a senior officer to that effect before they can reach a final decision. And this can happen for a bunch of reasons. For example, officer has concerns about the genuineness of your relationship and you have shown significant inconsistencies in your documents and in your forms. There could also be a previous immigration history issue or some sort of misrepresentation. The file is selected for quality assurance or compliance with internal policy review. Or maybe the immigration officer is suspecting misuse of the sponsorship, such as a marriage convenience. And how would you know that your application is under a second review? You can pick up signals when your file is taking more than normal processing time. So you should order the GCMS notes and you need to look for typical wording in the notes. And I'll put them on the screen right now. So as you can see, recommend second review due to genuineness of relationship. And if the principal applicant does not submit enough of evidence, it can also go for a second review. And you can also look out for words used such as senior officer to review the final decision. If you do find out that your file is under a second review, what happens next? You can expect long delays in the processing your application. If not by weeks, it could be months. Sometimes it can take even up to 2 years before you reach a final decision. This means you can also get hit with a Procedural Fairness Letter, and that means they are thinking about a refusal, but you're lucky that they are giving you a chance to explain yourself about whatever inconsistencies they found in your application and present new evidence which will satisfy the immigration officer. And many cases under the second review, I've seen them getting approved. It does not mean that your application will be refused, but the problem is it's going to add complications to your application, such as delays, Procedural Fairness Letters. So as long as you're able to present evidence to the immigration officer, which adds up to your story, your application will be approved. There was a case where the client did not submit enough of wedding photos, and they also had a child, and they did not submit the photos of the child as well. And due to this, they were asked to go through a DNA test. And before that, they were hit with the Procedural Fairness Letter. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So make sure when you submit your application the very first time, you have attached all the comprehensive documentary evidence. There aren't any inconsistencies throughout all forms and documents. Your story is adding up. For example, if you're claiming to have been married for about 5 years, so the photos that you're about to submit with the application should spread over the time of 5 years. There should be a sequence to your photos. Apart from that, proof of contact, such as screenshots, messages, video calling, it should have that sequence that over time you guys were talking to each other. And if you've happened to make a trip back home, the sponsor goes back to visit the spouse, make sure that you add all of that evidence, such as the air tickets, photos taken back home, so on and so forth. So when you present all of this evidence at the very first time, it will help you avoid getting into a situation where the immigration officer will put your file for a second review. So if your application is taking longer than the normal processing times, I would strongly recommend you to order your GCMS notes and look for the typical wording on the second review. This will help you understand why your application is taking long. And then if possible, you would need to raise a web form and attach some comprehensive evidence based on what your situation is and what they have indicated in the notes. This will help you to get their attention, and hopefully you can address this issue in a timely manner. So this was everything about second review. I'm telling you, you guys want to avoid it to begin with because it will add a lot of frustration to your application. Apart from this, if you are looking to sponsor someone over to Canada and you're looking for professional help, you can book an appointment at the given link here. We'll have a detailed chat about your personal and professional profile, in which we'll do a complete assessment to see where you stand. And of course, we will let you know how to move forward.